Quality. At Kirtz Shutters, it's more than just a descriptive word. It is the foundation that our entire process is built upon. A consistent process that has been refined throughout 25 years of experience in building hardwood shutters. A process with tried and true results. With every ending, there is a beginning. And at Kirtz, it looks like this. First, raw lumber is brought on site. Most of the lumber is sourced from Wisconsin, an area where trees mature slowly and produce stronger, straighter woods. However, unique woods from the world over are brought in for specific projects. All of the lumber is purchased from suppliers using sustainable forestry methods, ensuring these fine species of wood will be available for generations to come. Upon arrival, each load of lumber is moisture tested. Moisture readings must meet NHLA specifications in order to be used in a Kirtz shutter. After unloading the truck, wood is pulled, sorted, and brought to the staging area based upon upcoming production needs. The wood is then sorted by size and grouped based upon the component that it will become. Some boards are run through a ripsaw. A ripsaw takes a larger board and, using laser precision, cuts it into smaller pieces, thus allowing Kirtz to get the highest yield out of each piece of lumber, which minimizes waste. The milling team sets up and collaborates the molder to run components of the shutter through. All four sides of the board are simultaneously sculpted with our proprietary blades. In addition to standard components, milling in-house allows Kirtz the flexibility to make custom components specific to your needs. Whether it be custom casing to match your millwork or a non-stock louver size, the options are limitless with Kirtz. After the component is run through the machine, it is very carefully inspected. Flaws in the wood are not acceptable and are defected out or repaired. The design on the stiles or vertical member contributes to the integrity of a Kirtz shutter. The natural character of wood is to have a slight arc in each board. By taking two boards with opposite arcs and fusing them together into one, Kirtz is able to get taller, straighter stiles than possible with one piece. By combining only solid hardwoods with this design, you are able to order a shutter without center supports up to 96 inches tall in your Kirtz shutter. Next, each part receives the first of many sandings, a crucial component to attaining the satin smooth finish that has become a Kirtz hallmark. Before moving to staging for production, each piece is thoroughly inspected to ensure that it has an even surface. After lineal parts are made, the order is ready for assembly. Production paperwork unique to each order is placed on a cart that will hold two shutters. First, technicians enter the exact length needed into the keypad and feed the lineal pieces through to be precisely cut to the louver length. Next, the stiles are drilled. These holes will serve to hold each of the louvers in place and will allow them to rotate at the operator's convenience. The machine takes the inputs from the technician and precisely drills each hole. As the holes are made, the stile moves down the line so that another can be fed into the machine. Each piece is inspected as it comes off the machine to ensure every hole gets drilled perfectly. And then all the excess debris is cleaned off of each piece. The rails, or horizontal support members of the shutter, also have holes drilled in them in preparation for final assembly. Depending on the height of the finished shutter, there are 2 to 4 dowels at each stile rail joint in a shutter. After the parts for each shutter have been cut and grouped on the cart, focus is back on the louvers. Each louver is taken and burnished or sanded on the ends. This extra step is critical to smooth the raised grain, a natural result of cutting wood, so that the louver ends take finishing applications well. The sculpted tilt rod is a hallmark of a Kirtz shutter. After being cut to length, the top of the rod is shaped, and then the entire rod is sanded before being branded with the Kirtz name. After all, this is the part of the shutter you touch the most. After careful preparation, the louvers and tilt rod are inserted into the LPS machine. In one fluid operation, the louver is attached to the rod with cement-coated staples, and self-lubricating nylon pins are inserted into the louver ends. Next, the string of louvers, stiles, and rails are moved to the clamp table to be put together. Glue is squeezed into the holes where the stile and rails will meet. Then dowels that are larger than the holes are inserted and put in place. Final adjustments are made, and then a hydraulic press is used to clamp the entire shutter together. After the shutter is together, it is turned over and pin nails are inserted into the back of the shutter through the dowels for an extra dose of strength for stile and rail joints. Since each shutter is custom to your window opening, the final trimming of shutter height now takes place. The laser outlines the precise cut, and the shutter is hand-guided by a careful craftsman to ensure the measurement stays accurate. If your shutter is ordered with framework, now the construction of your chosen frame begins. The framework is built around the shutter, with each frame piece receiving mitered corners with dovetail keys. These removable keys allow the framework to be knocked down and reassembled easily in the field if the unit exceeds the size that can fit on truck for shipment or delivery. Architectural shaped shutters are created by the master craftsmen in our specialties area. Arcs, rake tops, ovals, and half circles are built in this department. Using a CNC machine, the design for the shutter is cut out from the wood. These pieces are then integrated and shaped by hand to fit the design and specs of the shutter in its entirety. These artisans make slight modifications to the layout and the final designs during the construction process to ensure the finished shutter is as functional and pleasing to the eye as possible. After construction of the shutter is complete, it moves forward to be prepared for finishing. Tough inspections and surface critiquing is aided by bright lights set at certain angles to magnify any slight surface imperfections. These slight blemishes are then filled and sanded and inspected again until they are proved as pristine. At this time, the shutter and frames are moved on to receive either paint or stain. Painted shutters are primed, and then 2 coats of the pre-catalyzed lacquer is applied, resulting in a smooth finish from top to bottom of the shutter. Stained shutters are sprayed to get an even coat of stain on them, and then are hand wiped. Then, through a process called toning, the finisher works to make sure the finish is homogeneous from top to bottom and blends well with the custom color match. Once the stained shutter looks perfectly balanced, it is sprayed with a sealer. After the sealer dries completely, the shutter is sanded and 2 additional coats of the finish are then applied. This achieves the depth of finish and resistance to knocks and wears that emulates the hallmark of fine furniture. After allowing sufficient time for curing, the shutters and their respective frames are matched together. At this time, final quality control inspection takes place. Once the shutter is approved, the shutter is placed in its frame and the margins are adjusted, hardware is attached, and it is ready for installation. The finished shutter that ships is palletized and sent to you. Depending on your location, a factory-trained installer may bring and install the shutters in your home. From raw lumber to the finished product that arrives in your home, the Kirtz team uses the foundation of quality to bring you shutters that will last a lifetime.